if you hadn't heard of this guy before, Antonio Brown, little controversial figure several months ago. You know, he started with the Raiders talking about the helmet issues. There's like a gazillion different helmets out there. Couldn't find one that worked for him. The Raiders eventually cut him with all these, stories that are coming out about sexual misconduct. There are several women that have come forward that have stated that. And then he gets signed by the New England Patriots. I didn't think it was a good idea. I didn't think it would work out. I don't think anybody really did. And eventually the Patriots let him go as well. So what does Antonio Brown decide to do? He takes to Twitter. Doesn't seem like he's an extremely intelligent person. I think that's fair to say. He has very bad judgment and also has very similar grammar skills as Lil Wayne. Lil. See, I pronounced it right.
Yes, you did.
Lil Wayne. So here is what Brown said on Twitter. Will not be playing in the NFL anymore. These owners can cancel deals, do whatever they want at any time. We will see if the NFL Players Association hold them accountable. You might want to put a will in there. Hold them accountable, and they can just void guarantees anytime going on 40 and 2 months. We'll see if they pay up! ! So then he did something that was even worse. He does the whataboutism, as many of you Trump supporters do. He posted screenshots on Twitter from articles that highlighted previous accusations of sexual assault towards Ben Roethlisberger. I like to call him Ben Rapistberger, as well as former NFL tight end Shannon Sharp. He also posted on Twitter that Patriots owner Robert Kraft, who pleaded not guilty earlier this year to soliciting prostitution. Yeah, because that's a great comparison. Kraft went into a massage parlor, okay, and got some manipulation. And that's just like, okay, AB, that's just like sexually assaulting a woman. Yeah, what a great comparison, you dummy. And then what does he do? He goes on Twitter yesterday and deletes them because he knows somebody gave him some common sense, said, hey, you can't put that stuff up there. He's basically saying, well, what about Ben Rapistberger?
He just wanted it to burn every single bridge he ever had in the NFL.
Yeah, because...
Here's the thing. Ben Roethlisberger was actually suspended. You got away with this stuff, and you weren't even suspended, Antonio Brown. What are you talking about? You are a loser. You are a sociopath, and you are an absolute disgrace. And I hope that you are not ever back in the NFL.
I like it when you do that with your very calm, deep voice. AB, you are a sociopath. You sound like a doctor, actually.
I mean, he clearly is. I wish I could write actually, I do write it like a doctor, but I don't have a PhD or an MD to back it up. My handwriting is horrendous.
Well, his grammar is horrendous.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to read a book with Chris Johnson, Antonio Brown, and Lil Wayne's tweets.
Lil Wayne's tweets. You could have a lot of fun with that.
That is a textbook word salad right there, book that would be going out. But let me offer a little advice to people out there, okay, and to Antonio Brown, okay? Bringing up negative stuff that other people do doesn't give you an excuse for doing something bad yourself, right? That's never a good way to go when you're bringing up other people and trying to defend yourself.
And did Ben Roethlisberger or Robert Kraft send intimidating text messages to a witness? Did they intimidate a witness with pictures of their kids? I mean, come on.
That's kind of like O.J. Simpson going on Twitter and then saying, well, what about Jeffrey Dahmer? I mean, it's really...
And what about Ed Gein? What about Andre Chikatilo?
It's not much of a defense.
Those are 5 serial killers, O.J.
It's not much of a defense.
They all received the death penalty like you should have.
So Jimmy Johnson, former Dallas Cowboys coach, pretty respected around the league. It's always nice when you have an old white man angry attacking an African American. I mean, it's sometimes it can be entertaining. It seems like Donald Trump does that all the time, right? So why not Jimmy Johnson? Although in this case, I agree with Jimmy Johnson. That's the difference. So this is Jimmy Johnson, football analyst and anchor, talking about Antonio Brown on his national NFL show.
These latest, tweets and the information that you've got, it's irrational thinking, and I think he really needs some help. Now, as far as a general manager or a head coach, I would not touch him this year, next year, or ever. And I hope we're done talking about Antonio Brown.
Let me tell you something. I think he needs some help. I think that Antonio Brown, he needs some help. He gives me anxiety.
I'm sorry. Nancy Goodman making a little appearance.
Antonio Brown, I wouldn't touch him.
I would love to see Jimmy Johnson fire and brimstone in front of a jury. He would be a great attorney.
Hearing Jimmy Johnson say I wouldn't touch him, I feel like he's talking. I don't know.
I wouldn't touch him.
Is he talking about little kids? Like, what is he talking? It's just weird.
I'm just highly entertained by its Impersonation Monday here with Brian Shapiro. That was top notch.
Play that one more time. I'm sorry. I want to hear Jimmy Johnson again. Yeah, play it another time. Go ahead. I want to hear this. I wouldn't touch him. I wouldn't touch him. He gives me anxiety.
These latest, tweets and
my God.
information that you've got, it's irrational thinking.
Oh, it's irrational.
And I think he really needs some help.
Give the
now,
guy-
as far
give
as
the
a
boy
general
some
manager
help.
or a head coach,
Give him some
I
help.
would not touch him.
I wouldn't touch
this
him.
year, next year, or ever. I hope we're done talking about Antonio Brown.
I wouldn't touch that fool. I wouldn't touch him. Thank you, Jimmy.
But he is right about Antonio Brown, correct? Because that tweet on Friday where he talked about getting fired on Friday, it's like you're celebrating the fact that you're losing your profession, that your livelihood is going out the window,
and then
people think that you have a real mental issue.
I mean, the guy lost $40 million
Exactly.
in 6 months.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of unbelievable how that happened. The events that took place. How the guy went from being, a year ago, I thought Antonio Brown was a pretty decent guy. I really did. And I think that probably 95% of the country did as well. And I'm sure there were a few that, he didn't pay his bill or he sexually harassed or whatever. But now everyone knows what kind of an absolute scumbag this guy is. And he cost himself $40 million. And
He cost himself more than that.
And probably at a minimum, and probably a championship.
I'm going to say it cost himself.
With Tom Brady, who is by far the best quarterback in NFL history.
Well, let's just keep in mind the Patriots sent him to a 1-year deal. The man could have played football for at least another 6 years, 5 or 6 years, maybe.
Absolutely.
I would say three.
Yeah.
I would say 3 to 4 years because he was 31 years old.
Fine, fair. But even if that's the case, at a minimum, salary-wise alone, we're talking $50, $60 million.
Yeah, 60 to 80, plus endorsements.
That's what I was going to say. Let's not forget Nike, who just dropped him too.
Yeah.
You could make the argument he's lost hundreds of millions of dollars.
Even after the crazy helmet thing, he ended up getting a sponsorship from that. That actually worked out in his favor.
Do you think
and
this
he
guy
still managed to screw everything up after the fact?
All right, so I want you guys to give me the odds.
It's kind of an impressive fall from grace. Well done, Antonio Brown.
Well, three organizations, right? In just a matter of months, this guy gets jettisoned from. What player in any sport manages to pull that off? It's unbelievable.
All right, so give me the odds, gentlemen. What do you think the odds are that, and I'm not even talking about this year, that he ever plays in the NFL again?
Again, I'm very, very biased here, so I'm hoping that it's minus 2,000 no. I would say it's probably minus 475 no at this point.
I think within a couple of years he will play again. I think he's too good of a player. I think somebody's going to take a risk.
At 33 years old?
Well, he's still a hell of a player.
If he was 26, okay. He could lose a tenth or 2/10 of a second off of his 40. He probably has CTE, by the way. I think that's pretty clear at this point.
I don't know about that. Maybe he's just a jerk.
He's not going to. It's possible too, but he's not going to consistently work out the way he has. I don't believe he's going to sustain that.
He's in fantastic shape.
He is in great shape. He's now taking classes at Central Michigan. That's his new thing. I think he's probably there just to hit on young women.
He's going to go the education route now, right? That's what he's going to perform as.
Well, he's going to try to repair his reputation slowly, but he's going to screw it up in the process. He just isn't right mentally. And that's clear at this point.
We were on the air Friday, and it was a live press conference with Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick walked out of the press conference. This was literally we were on the air. It was literally a couple hours before they let him go. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Bill Belichick as a human being. Obviously, he's probably going to go down, if not one of the best NFL head coach of all time. He's a brilliant coach. Nobody can take that away from him. And I do like at times his sarcastic sense of humor. With that being said, I grew up in New England, and I grew up a New England Patriots fan. When they stole a Super Bowl from the Rams, if you recall, Kurt Warner was the quarterback that year. They basically stole the playbook pretty much. They had video of their practices. You remember that? Okay, it was Spygate. They had video of their practices. They knew ahead of time a lot of the plays that they were going to be running. The scouting report was they cheated. Okay, let's just call it for what it is. They cheated. And then when Bill Belichick was asked about it, he never apologized. Then we move on to Deflategate. Okay, we remember. Chris, what are you doing? You're like rubbing against the microphone. What are you doing? I'm right in the middle of giving an explanation.
Doing some back scratching. I had a little back scratch I had to take care of.
It's just disgusting.
all the time.
It's just a disgusting sound.
I'm finding new uses for the microphones here in studio.
It's a disgusting sound to hear your stomach rubbing against the microphone. It's just gross. Anyway, where was I?
I think it was more of a shoulder action.
We're talking about Bill Belichick being a cheat.
Yes. And then we're going, and then I'm talking about Deflategate, where Bill Belichick, again, is in front of the media. They were caught. And he doesn't apologize to anybody. I'm not saying you have to apologize to the NFL. I'm not even saying you have to apologize to the organization. Apologize to the fans, the people, because as a fan, and I was, when you cheat and when you get caught cheating, you should apologize. Bill Belichick has always been the guy to never apologize for anything, and I lost a lot of respect for him, not as a football coach, but just as a person, So yesterday, this is the pregame interview right before the Jets game where the reporter asked him a question about Antonio Brown. And again, this is right before the game, and I understand he probably doesn't want to talk about Antonio Brown, but let's roll that tape.
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, what was the final straw with Antonio Brown?
Yeah, we're focused on the Jets today.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, so here's what you don't see because it's a video on the radio. Of course, you're not going to see it. And by the way, we posted the video on our Twitter account at The Vegas Take. Right after she asked Bill Belichick that question, he gives her the stare of death. Okay, this is not an accidental stare. He gives her the meanest, most horrible stare that you could ever give a reporter. First of all, she's doing her job, and she shows some guts. I think it's appropriate to ask that type of question. It's a huge national story. Not only does he not answer the question, here's what he could have said. He could have said, listen, that wasn't my place to make that decision. That's management. Ask them. I'm just focused on the football game today. I would have been okay with that answer. But he gives this short answer, and he gives her this atrocious stare. I'm telling you, I'm not over-exaggerating this. Bill Belichick gave this woman the stare of death. Okay? Why does he have to act like that? Why do some, we've seen the same thing with Urban and Meyer in the past, and we've seen it with a lot of coaches. At Alabama, we've seen it. Why is it that some of these coaches, and by the way, not just football, not to pick on just football, coaches across the country, and even Popovich has done that a lot with some reporters. I think he's been very disrespectful. Look, I didn't think this was an out-of-the-line question. I thought it was very appropriate. But even when a reporter asked you an inappropriate question, how about be professional? How about show some professionalism? It's not just about winning football games. It's about setting an example, showing leadership, and being respectful towards others. I find that Bill Belichick does not do that. He didn't do that in this situation. It was an appropriate question to ask, and I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of these coaches and athletes in sports that think they are bigger and better than you just because they play football for a living, just because they coach. You're good at your profession doesn't mean you're good at life, doesn't mean you're a good human being. And I'm not trying to put too much on Bill Belichick here, but I just think it's so unprofessional. This isn't the first time he's done this.
Well, this is what we expect out of Bill Belichick when there's an issue that arises that's off the football field, right? When there's some type of controversy, something goes down where it's found out that either the Patriots or a player on the Patriots has issues to deal with, and that becomes a national story. He becomes the curmudgeon guy, right? He's the guy that doesn't want to have to deal with it. And so this is just an extension of that. Now, the stare and all that, people are kind of reading into it, saying, it's an intimidation thing. What if a man had asked him that question? They're trying to bring that into it. I just think, look, it's just a case of Bill Belichick is just tired, right? He's mentally exhausted with dealing with the entire Antonio Brown saga. And now that the Patriots have made the move where they've released him, okay, he wants to just move on and that. But that's the way Bill's been, right, his entire career. And anytime there's something off the field, he wants to focus on football, right? And he wants to, when it comes to his media appearances, he wants to be that guy that just, I'm just zeroed in on my next opponent.
Bill Belichick is no nonsense. The guy came from a service academy, by the way. Mm-hmm. I mean, so he's as straightforward as you can possibly be. The way I look at this is it shows the breakdown of the fabric of the moral of society. You've got Bill Belichick, a 6-time Super Bowl winner. You've got Foxborough, his home media. Yeah. He asked them, this is a 6-time Super Bowl winner who gave him the best quarterback probably of all time. And he said, hey, please stop asking me questions about Antonio Brown. But they are so concerned with getting clicks and getting ratings and getting attention for themselves. They just keep asking the same question over and over. That's where the world is at right now. Somehow his own media didn't have enough respect for him, despite the fact for what he's done for that city and for that media, which is a ton, to stop asking that question. That absolutely blows my mind, and I respect him for stepping out of that press conference the way that he did. And I think the reason Antonio Brown was released is because of something like that. He became a distraction.
But you understand the media climate, though, now, JD. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. I totally get it.
It's not. You just pointed out.
All they want is
looking
ratings.
for clicks, looking for the big story, right?
That's all they want to do, and they're all competing for everybody's attention simultaneously.
I don't know if I agree with you on what you said.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't either. As far as the media is out of line. I don't think they're out of line whatsoever.
I don't think. Listen,
asking him the question.
The problem is,
I mean, when Bill Belichick, who has brought my city 6 championships in the last 15 years, asked me politely to stop asking questions, I stop. And I'm shocked that they didn't. They kept going and going and going.
Okay,
and then
first of all,
he said, fine, if we're not going to talk about, he said, I'm pretty sure I've addressed this. If we're not going to talk about what's going on with the New York Jets, I'm not interested.
All right, from this standpoint, here's where I do agree. If you cover the New England Patriots for more than a year, you know how Bill Belichick is. When he says he's not going to talk about something, he's not going to talk about it. So it did seem like they were kind of egging him on a little bit. However,
completely.
I'm going to go after Bill Belichick a little bit here. This is a huge issue. The public deserves to know. Answer the frickin' question. Okay? Answer. What do you mean you've addressed this before? What, you gave 3 words? Answer the question. He had to have known in that press conference that they were going to let him go.
He said,
he had to have known.
He said, I am here to talk about football only. I'm not going to talk about Antonio
That is
Brown.
football because that's part of their scheme offensively. That is a football question. Is he going to be on the field? And some of those questions I think were very, very fair. How's he going to help your offense this week? What's going to happen with him this weekend? His response is, well, he's on the roster. No, I'm not expecting you to give your entire, scheme away, your plays away, your play calls. That's not what we're asking. Is he going to be a focal point of the offense? Just answer the question. And then if you don't want to answer it, say, listen, that's a management decision. Can't talk about that right now. I'd rather talk about the football game, and I'd rather address those issues. He could have answered the question with that, and he didn't. He's very condescending. He gives these short answers, and I'm just tired of it already. I'm tired of his shtick.
Brian, the guy is the best football coach ever.
That goes without saying, though. You're right.
He's definitely the best defensive coach ever. So he has earned his right to be the way he is, and clearly no one cares.
No, I disagree.
Earned his right to be the way he is,
He's still
though.
coach of the New England Patriots
Has
for
Rick
a reason.
Pitino earned the right to the things that he's done? Rick Pitino has gone down as one of the best college basketball coaches of all time.
Those are totally different scenarios.
No, but you can't make the argument just because you're a great coach that gives you the right to be a jerk.
No, how is he? He said, I don't want to talk about it.
Did you see the video? Did you see the stare he gave him?
I absolutely watched. I'm talking about the press conference where he actually walked out. I'm not talking about the death
But he
stare.
has a history of being a jerk. You have to admit that. He has a history. Forget about this press conference with AB. I'll give you that.
Brian, some of the best leaders in the history of the world are jerks.
That doesn't make it right.
Yeah, it's not. Certain coaches act a certain way. There's a number of coaches who are very cordial when it comes to the media, right? And then there's the other guys, right? Yeah. There's the Bobby Knights, okay? There's obviously Brian brought up Greg Popovich, and there's also the Bill Belichick who handle the media in a different way.
What is Bobby Knight's background? Service Academy.
Exactly.
We got to take a break.
There's a reason for it.
We got to take a break. We're going to move on. When we come back, this is going to be a lot of fun. What happened there at Storm Area 51? I want to know all the details. What was the craziest outfit? Who was making money? Did anybody storm Area 51? Were there arrests? What is the craziest thing that was seen out there at Area 51? Well, we're going to talk to Mike Akers. He was out there. Mick, I'm sorry, I called him Mike. Mick Akers from the Review-Journal. He's going to be joining us next on the Vegas Take, and we are going to get all the details of what is going on there. And don't worry, we'll get to the Bridget the Midget story as well. It's a crazy one. We'll take a quick break, be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.